Okay, imagine this for a second. You're standing in a room, and it is pitch black.
Total darkness.
Absolute zero visibility. You can't even see your own hand. But you've got to get to the other side. So you start walking. What happens?
Oh, you crash.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Right. You slam your shin into a coffee table you didn't know was there. You walk right into a door frame. Maybe you step on a Lego, which is, let's be honest,
The worst pain in existence.
it's the worst. It hurts. You feel confused, maybe a little angry at the furniture. You start to think the coffee table is out to get you.
It's such a visceral image, and that is exactly where we're starting our deep dive today. That's the metaphor James Allen uses in his 1912 book, Light on Life's Difficulties.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We are dusting off a book that is, well, over 100 years old, but feels like it was written about our lives right now. The premise is fascinating. Allen says that when we get hurt in life, that sting of disappointment, the bruise of sorrow, it isn't the universe punishing us.
No, not at all. That's the first big myth he just gets rid of.
It's because we are walking in the dark.
Exactly. That's the core idea. We are bumping into these spiritual principles, these laws of how life works that we just can't see. The furniture isn't trying to trip you. You're tripping because you haven't turned on the light.
So the hurts are just feedback. They're the signal telling you you're flying blind.
Precisely.
Okay, so our mission today is pretty clear then. We need to find the light switch. We're going to walk through Allen's arguments and see if we can stop stumbling and start walking open-eyed and unhurt, as he puts it.
And it's important to know who he wrote this for. This isn't, a beginner's guide. He wrote it near the end of his life. It's meant to be a companion for real character transformation, for the person who's just tired of the bruises.
And he starts right away by talking about that confusion. Chapter 2, he says the world is in a state of mental ferment.
Which sounds incredibly modern, doesn't it?
It really does. I read that and immediately thought of my social media feed. Just everyone shouting, different gurus, 10 different systems for how to live. It's so noisy.
Yeah, it is noisy. But Allen gives us a way to cut through it. He warns against a very specific trap, what we could call the separate soul trap.
Okay, yeah, this part was a little dense for me at first. He's arguing against the idea that we have a soul that's, totally separate from our mind.
Precisely. It's a comforting thought, right?
Yeah.
To think, well, my mind's a mess, I'm anxious, I get angry, but deep, deep down, I've got this pure, untouched soul.
Right. I might have yelled at my spouse, but my soul is pure light.
Exactly. And Allen says that's a trap. He argues that speculating about some separate metaphysical thing actually blinds us to who we are. It lets us off the hook.
So he wants us to get real.
He wants us to deal with facts, not theories. He has this great line, man's life is actual. His thoughts are actual. He's telling us to stop studying things that are not, abstract metaphysics, and start investigating things that are.
Which means your thoughts right now, your mood right now.
Why you snapped at your coworker this morning. That's the reality. That's the piece of furniture you just bumped into at the dark.
That is so grounding.
And he lays out this path, this sort of ladder of learning. He says we learn by suffering.
But only up to a point.
Right. And then he says suffering mellows the heart into love. Love helps you perceive the law. You start to see how things work. And then finally, wisdom brings peace.
It's a whole progression, but it requires a shift in direction, doesn't it?
A huge one. He gives this maxim. It's folly to try and bring the perfect down to the imperfect. Wisdom is striving to bring the imperfect up to the perfect.
Meaning you don't try to twist the truth to justify your own messy life?
No, you can't. We all want a philosophy that says it's okay to be petty. Allen says, no, wisdom is the standard you have to climb.
Which is hard work.
Well.
And speaking of hard work, let's get into the part of the book where I felt personally attacked.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Oh, yeah. The 2 massive excuses that keep us in the dark. And he does not pull any punches.
No, he really doesn't. He tears down those walls of self-justification.
First one, the environment excuse. From chapter 8. It's that classic complaint, right? I could make so much progress if I wasn't hindered by everyone around me.
Or, it's impossible for me to be calm because I live with such irritable people. We've all said it. I'd be a saint if it weren't for my family.
Or my chaotic office, or the news, or anything. I'm not angry, you're making me angry. It's the ultimate deflection. And Allen just calls it a delusion.
A flat-out delusion. And this is a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
He says the error is imagining that other people are responsible for our own folly. If you're irritated, the irritation is in you.
I do want to push on that a little because it can sound harsh. Is he saying that if someone is being genuinely difficult, it's my fault?
That's a great question. And it's a crucial distinction. He's not saying the situation is your fault. He's saying your spiritual condition is your responsibility. If someone yells at you, that's their stumbling in the dark.
Yeah.
But if you lose your center, if you become hateful, that reaction is yours.
So the environment can be the trigger.
But we're the gun.
That's a good way to put it. It goes back to the dark room, doesn't it? If you kick the table, does it help to scream at the table?
No, the table's just a table.
Right. If you blame the table, you learn nothing. You just resent the table. If you realize you were walking blindly, you can learn to turn on the light.
Blaming the environment keeps you in the dark because the power is always outside of you.
That is, in a strange way, very freeing. But if you think that's tough, let's get to the second excuse. The disposition trap.
This one is huge.
This is when we say, I can't help it, it's just my disposition, or I was born this way.
This is where Alan just rejects the idea that we are bound by our ancestors. That you're angry because your father was angry or his father before him.
I think he even says you can't blame ancestors from hundreds of years ago.
Right. Which sounds silly, but we do it. Well, my family's just anxious. We're stubborn people. Alan says that belief must be uprooted, destroyed, and cast away.
Why is it so dangerous?
Because it's a life sentence. If you truly believe you must be a certain way because of your biology or your history, you've just signed a contract to never grow. You're saying, I'm a robot programmed by dead people.
It's fatalism. I'm just built this way. And Alan is saying, no, you are building yourself this way every single day by believing that.
Exactly. He wants us to take total ownership. No blaming the neighbor, no blaming the grandfather. It's just you, right now.
Okay, so we've stripped away the excuses. We can't blame the world. We can't blame our DNA. We're just standing there in the dark, holding our bruised shins. What's left?
We're left with the need for action, and specifically, the need for self-control. This is chapter 9.
And this isn't just, resisting a cookie. Alan frames this with incredibly high stakes.
He does. He doesn't call it a good habit, like flossing. He calls it the absolute door of heaven.
The door of heaven? I mean, that's dramatic.
It is. But look at the alternative he gives. Without self-control, a person is already in hell, lost in darkness and unrest, a slave to every passing emotion.
He has that beautiful analogy that I bookmarked, the flower. The flower reaches the upper light by first contending with the underdarkness.
It's poetic, but it's also just mechanics. A seed starts in the cold, dark, heavy dirt. It has to push. It has to struggle against that resistance to even break the surface.
And in this metaphor, the dirt is us.
The dirt is our own lower nature, our impulses, our anger, our selfishness. The struggle isn't a sign that something is wrong. It is the mechanism of growth.
So it's supposed to be hard, which implies there's a cost. In Chapter 4, Light on Values, he brings up economics.
I love this part. He says, look, everything in the world has a price. A loaf of bread costs pennies. A diamond costs thousands.
And spiritual peace, that unhurt state, has a price too. It's not free.
And the currency is self-control.
So what am I paying with?
You're paying with your self-will, your ego. You pay with your desire to lash out when you're insulted. You pay with the satisfaction of being right in an argument.
That's expensive. Sometimes I really want to be right.
We all do. That's the cheap loaf of bread, right? The immediate satisfaction. But peace is the diamond. You can't have the peace that passes all understanding if you aren't willing to give up the pleasure of holding a grudge. You have to choose.
This also seems to connect to how he talks about grief, that a lot of suffering is just a lack of perspective.
Yes, proportion.
I see.
He says, when we're overwhelmed, a loss can seem so massive it blots out the entire sun, like holding a coin right up to your eye.
You wouldn't be able to see anything else.
Exactly. But the coin is tiny. The light of wisdom restores proportion. It moves the coin away so you can see the whole landscape again. But you need the self-control to not press that coin against your eye in the first place.
Okay, so let's take stock. We're in the dark room. We've stopped blaming the furniture and our own backstory. We're willing to do the work to pay the price. But there's one more trap, and this is the one that gets me the most.
The paralysis of consequences.
Yes. Chapter 10. The idea that I know this is the right thing to do, but if I do it, something bad is going to happen.
If right were done, calamity would ensue. That's the fear.
Totally. If I tell the truth, I might lose my job. If I set this boundary, they'll get angry. We're always trying to manage the outcome.
We're playing 4D chess with our morals, trying to guarantee a safe landing.
And Alan says that's a delusion. Why? It feels like being smart.
Because it shifts your focus from the act, the only thing you control, to the consequence which you only think you can foresee. We're terrible fortune tellers.
And the result of all that predicting is just instability.
Right. He says those people are blown about by the changing wind of circumstance. You act one way today, another way tomorrow. You become a weather vane.
And we want to be a compass.
Exactly. A compass points north no matter what the storm is doing. Alan's solution is radical. Work for righteousness only. Just do the right thing.
And put away the thoughts of results.
Just do the right thing because it's right. He promises that those who do that become steadfast, unchanging, untroubled.
There's a deep security in that, isn't there? You don't have to waste all that energy worrying about what if.
The math is done. You just tell the truth. You walk a straight line instead of stumbling in the dark.
It's like the light switch was in our hand the entire time.
It was. We were just too busy yelling at the coffee table to flip it.
So let's recap this whole journey out of the dark. We started in the room, bruising our shins.
Right. And to turn on the light, we first had to deal with facts, not theories about some separate good soul. We had to get real.
Then we stopped looking for excuses. No more blaming our irritable neighbors or our angry ancestors. We took ownership.
Then we saw the price of admission to a better life was self-control, pushing through the dirt like that flower.
Buying the diamond of peace with the currency of our own ego. And finally, we learned to stop being paralyzed by consequences, to just focus on the right act.
And if you do all that, Alan talks about something called the Beatific vision. It sounds mystical.
What is it exactly?
It's not seeing angels. It's perceiving the law of love that moves everything. It's that moment the light is fully on and you see the universe isn't chaotic. You see that if you align yourself with goodness, you're safe.
Open-eyed and unhurt.
Precisely. You stop bumping into the furniture because you finally see where it is.
Before we go, I want to leave everyone with one final thought from the book. It's from the chapter, The Light That Never Goes Out.
It's a powerful one. He asks you to consider, if external pleasures decay, if wealth fades, if fame fails, what's left? What's the one thing that remains?
He talks about a calm bosom within ourselves, a place that's the only true refuge.
That's the challenge he leaves us with. Can you find that refuge inside yourself? Not in your job, not in your reputation, but in your own character. Because that is the only light that never goes out.
So to everyone listening, stop stumbling in the dark room. Stop blaming the furniture. Reach for the switch.
Turn on the light.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.